Hi there, this is a quick introduction to the flipped classroom. About 2 weeks ago, 12 of us went off to Hohook and were suitably inspired, learning about the possibilities involved here. This presentation takes the place of our Friday meeting. This is what we were going to be doing on Friday, and so we've actually flipped this meeting quite conveniently. At this point, what I want you to do, especially for those of you who weren't on the course, is to have a look at the video how the flipped classroom works. You can either access this by typing in the link below into your web browser, or alternatively you can just go to where you got this video on the school system and the video has already been downloaded for you. So press pause on this video, watch the how the flipped classroom works, and then carry on. Hopefully that made some kind of sense, and basically what it's all about is that traditionally we always used to do the lecturing or the teaching from in front of the class, and then the application of that theory, which was sometimes more difficult, we used to send children home to do. So the flipped approach changes all around. So at home, students watch videos that the teacher has made or that they've got off YouTube or somewhere else, and then this frees up time in class to work side by side with the student, so that if you get stuck applying the theory, the traditional homework gets taken into the class and there's more time for group work and one-on-one teaching. Another illustration here is just showing that the teacher or lecturer is in front of the class traditionally, and the homework activities are done alone. If you get stuck at this point, you're on your own and it's kind of tough luck for you. Now what happens is the lecture is done online, so the teacher becomes kind of an online resource that you can pause, rewind, and then this frees up time in class for the teacher to walk around and actually help students if they get stuck trying to apply that theory, which is where a lot of the problems come in. So it sounds great in theory and all, but does it actually work? How would you use it? So in grade 3, for example, teaching students to tell the time is a difficult concept, one which they frequently struggle with. So what we would do is they would watch this video at home, and here's a quick clip. The sound quality won't be great because it's coming through the microphone from the speakers, but here's a quick example.
When to limit time, it's important to follow 3 important steps. Firstly, we've got to work out if it's 2 or half. Anything on the right-hand side between 12 and 6 is half.
So that video goes on just explaining the basics of how to tell the time. So once they've watched that at home, the next day when we hand out the worksheet, we can do a whole lot more either group work or practice work, and I can be walking around the class helping anyone at that point who is stuck. If they're still stuck after that, obviously, or still didn't quite get it during the lesson, they can always go and watch the video again at home in their own time, and looking at the worksheet and the answers they already have collected. So why should we flip? Well, here's 5 good reasons. We're in the 21st century, and like one of the videos mentioned, not much has changed since we were at school. Working, sharing, collaborating online, these are all vital skills that we need to give our students when they go out into the modern workplace. We need to engage our students. We need to tap into Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, all those things that take up all their time all day. They're spending hours on this, mainly just kind of for nonsense and not really doing much good. So if we can even get some of it's a small slice of their online time, and we can use it educationally, I'm sure this is a great thing for us as well as for students, because this is how they actually interact nowadays, and this is how they learn. It makes more effective use of classroom time. So because we're not going to be standing at the front teaching so much anymore, we've got free time, and in this kind of, or inverted commas, free time, we can extend the top end of our class, and we can support those that struggle with certain concepts. So we can do this either in our group work, or if there's maybe only 1 or 2 people that haven't been able to answer questions that you set for the homework once the video had been done, you can take these 2 or 3 people out and go and have small group support for them. This really lends itself brilliantly to the approach that we have at PNPS. Then you can get the parents involved. They can take a keener interest, and they can help out. So rather than kids going home, what did you learn today? And nothing. How was school? Fine. You can actually see what they're learning, because they'll be learning it in the living room, in the kitchen, wherever they're watching the video. In the foundation phase, I've had a lot of questions, people asking what maths technique are they using at the moment, because they're coming home with different techniques and I can't quite help them. I think I'm confusing them. So I'd envisage the parents sitting down with the children to learn kind of the current techniques that we are using in order to help their children. I think we take this for granted as teachers that it's easy, that anyone can kind of teach kind of grade 3 maths or English, but I think some parents really struggle to know how to convey content to their children. So this would help the parents as well as the children. And lastly, it's going to lead to better results. We've now become a teacher in children's pockets. So if they're sitting and they had a smartphone, they're waiting for a bus, if they're waiting for their brother or sister to be picked up from a sports match, they can now do their homework, they can watch content, they can revise on their smartphones, on their tablets. And the other thing, it's perfect for introducing topics. It's also great for revision before exams. And you use the same screencast for introducing a topic, and then it stays on the virtual learning environment and they can access that before their exams. So now during assessment week, rather than revising 5 chapters, they can listen to their teacher teaching those 5 topics in short, kind of concise little screencasts. A couple of problems and solutions this throws up as with anything new and technological. Number one, not everyone has internet access, and this is potentially a problem. What we can do is we can put these videos onto a USB or memory stick, or we can burn it to a CD. How do you check that people have watched the videos? Well, you can't really unless you get clever. So we also can't tell if you ask someone to read chapter 2 for homework. We can't check that's done unless we incorporate some kind of question or worksheet into the video. So at the end of the video you can ask them to do a worksheet that's based on what they've just watched. Is it just a fad? Is it not one of those things that's going to come and go and we're just all wasting our time? The answer to this one is with a question: is technology a fad? I think technology is being used more and more. Our learners are using technology more and more. This is something that's not going to go away. This is going to take a while to catch on. Absolutely, it's a complete culture change. We have to change the way we teach. Children are going to have to change the way that they learn, but hopefully it's all going to benefit the children and the learners themselves and the way that they learn. At this point, we're just going to stop, and if you can watch one more video, it's about 3 minutes long, and this actually kind of gives you a guide on how to actually do it, how to implement a flipped classroom. And once again, if you go to the bottom, you can put this web address into your web browser, or you can go back to the folder where you got this video, and you can find Flipping the Classroom, a simple how-to. So pause this video and watch that one, and then there's a last bit just to finish up. In there they mentioned a number of videos that you can make. So what you can do when you're making a video is you can voice over a PowerPoint, as I'm doing at the moment. The last video that you watched was done using something called Prezi or Prezi. This is basically kind of PowerPoint on steroids. Also as simple as PowerPoint to use, just a lot more interactive. You can also use a traditional video camera. So if you wanted to set up a science experiment and show how the science experiment worked so students can look at it over and over again, it's a great way to do that with just a traditional video camera. You could also use the smartboard. If you use a smartboard, you can kind of capture yourself doing something kind of live, and it can record anything that you write onto the smartboard. And then there's the kind of easy option, is going to YouTube. There's a YouTube for schools now. It takes all the rubbish out of YouTube and puts educational content on. And the same with TED-Ed. These are kind of ready-made lessons. Who better to tell you about a specific topic, for example, the end of apartheid, than Nelson Mandela doing a speech? So rather than you trying to do a voiced-over PowerPoint, why not get the professionals to do it for you? Some examples of videos that can be found on the file where you found this video. These are some videos that we made at Hohhoek on the ProGrow weekend, just to see what we did within a couple of hours of learning these techniques. Once you've made the videos, where do they go? That's a good question, something that we're busy working on. You can either upload them to YouTube, where you have a PNPS channel. Edmodo is like an educational Facebook where we can get students to sign up. And then there's LMS and VLEs. LMS, which stands for Learning Management System. So Moodle is one of those, and It's Learning, which is a virtual learning environment. Both of these are basically closed environments that the school would control, and children would be given access to this via a username and password, and they could access this from obviously any internet. If they've got an internet connection, they can go onto the internet to Moodle or It's Learning, and they can connect to our school's virtual learning environment, and we could post all this information over there. So how do you get started? To make a screencast, you need to download some software, either Jing or Screencast-O-Matic, which I'm using at the moment. These are both free, and if you type in Screencast-O-Matic download or Jing download, you'll be able to download it onto your computer, and you can get going from there. We obviously did a lot of this on the weekend, but anyone who wants to ask any questions, please feel free to. I'd love to kind of show you how to do it. It really is as simple as clicking a few buttons. I hope this has been of help, and we'll discuss the implementation and how we're going to use it at Pinehurst North at our next Friday meeting. Thanks.